Ryan, can I ask you something that's been in my head since I was a kid?
Go ahead.
Growing up, I always heard adults say, it's very difficult to be born as a human. Sometimes they'd tell the story about the blind turtle, a turtle living in the ocean. It only comes up to the surface once every 100 years. Floating somewhere on the ocean is a single wooden yoke, and somehow, the turtle has to put its head through that tiny opening. They'd say, that's how difficult it is to be born as a human. Every time I heard that story, I had exactly the same question.
What was it?
If it's really that difficult, why are there billions of us? Every day, babies are born. The world's population keeps growing. So, where's the difficulty?
You know what's funny? I think a lot of people have wondered that. They just never asked it out loud.
Exactly. And I'm not asking because I want to prove anyone wrong. I'm asking because I genuinely want to understand. If there's an explanation, I'd actually like to know. Maybe I'm not the only one who's been carrying this question.
Then let's figure it out together. Not to decide who's right, just to understand the question a little better. Because sometimes the questions we keep to ourselves turn out to be the most interesting ones. You know, I once heard a monk explain this question, and honestly, it made a lot of sense.
Really? What did he say?
He asked people to compare humans with other living things. Take fish, for example. Some fish lay hundreds, even thousands of eggs at a time. Many insects reproduce in huge numbers. Animals in general can produce offspring much faster than humans. Now compare that with us. A human pregnancy takes around 9 months. Most families have only one baby at a time. Nowadays, many couples even decide to have only 1 or 2 children. So if you compare humans with many other forms of life, being born as a human really does seem much less common.
You know what? I actually agree with that. If we're comparing humans with all living creatures, that explanation makes a lot of sense. Especially when you think about fish or insects. The difference is enormous.
Exactly. At first, I thought it was a pretty convincing explanation.
But I still feel like something's missing.
I was waiting for the but. Go on.
The explanation helped me understand why humans reproduce more slowly. I get that. But that's not really the question that's been bothering me.
Then what is?
Let's imagine, just for the sake of discussion, that souls exist. Every time a new baby is born, is there already a soul waiting? Like a queue? I know that sounds funny, like taking a number at a government office. But seriously, if the number of humans keeps growing, are souls increasing too? Or were there already countless souls long before we were born? I honestly don't know. But once that thought came into my head, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
That's interesting, because I think your question has changed. At the beginning of this episode, you were asking about human population. Now, you're asking about something much bigger.
Am I?
Yeah, you're not really asking, why are there billions of humans? You're asking, when a new person is born, where does that person come from? Those aren't exactly the same question.
You're right. I never noticed that. I thought I was asking one question, but maybe I've actually been asking a completely different one all along.
You know, I don't think we've actually been talking about population this whole time.
Really? That's literally how this episode started.
It did, but look where we ended up. At first you asked, why are there billions of humans? Then, why is becoming human considered difficult? Then, if souls exist, are there more of them now than before? Now, you're asking, where does a new conscious person come from? Every answer led to a bigger question.
You're right. I thought I was chasing one answer. Instead, I kept discovering a deeper question.
And I think that's okay. Because not every question belongs to the same kind of conversation. Some questions, we can investigate. We can count births. We can compare reproduction between humans and animals. We can observe population changes. Those are things we can study.
But questions about souls or consciousness, that's different.
Exactly. Those questions have been discussed by philosophers, scientists, and religious traditions for thousands of years. Different traditions offer different answers. Some believe souls are eternal. Some believe consciousness arises differently. Some don't use the concept of a soul at all. Today, We can't point to one observation that settles the question for everyone.
You know, when I was younger, I used to think, if I can't see something, maybe it isn't real. But then I realized, I've never been to space. I've never stood on another planet. Yet I believe the universe exists. Not because I've seen it with my own eyes, but because there's enough evidence for me to trust. So, I also realized something else. Just because I don't have enough evidence today doesn't automatically mean something is impossible. It might simply mean, I don't know yet.
I like that. There's a difference between saying, this isn't true, and saying, I don't know yet. Those aren't the same sentence.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't think this episode answered my childhood question.
Really?
Not completely, but it did something better. It helped me realize the question I started with was actually a much smaller question hiding a much bigger one. Maybe the real mystery was never, why are there billions of humans? Maybe it was always, where does a new conscious being come from? Or, for people who believe in souls, where do souls come from? I don't know the answer, but I think that's the question I've really been trying to ask all these years.
Maybe that's what curiosity does. Sometimes it doesn't end with an answer. Sometimes it helps us discover the question we've been searching for all along.
Yeah, and somehow, that makes me even more curious than before. I think that's enough for today.